wondered what would happen if a rebellious high school boy got tossed into a school ruled by weapon-wielding girls? Well, you're about to find out. We'll explore the plot, the characters, the insane fights, and that wild blend of comedy, action, and just the right touch of chaos. Plus, is this show deeper than it lets on? Let's talk themes, power dynamics, and whether Nomura is the ultimate anti-hero or just hilariously overpowered. So sharpen those blades and your opinions, and let's get into it. The Supreme Five Swords is an organization tasked with keeping the peace at 𝙎𝙬𝙤𝙦 Education School. Meet some of our main protagonists called Rin, Mary, Satori, Warabi, and Tsukio. They discuss the transfer of a new student called Nomura, who recently came out of the hospital after a large brawl. Rin swears to correct his behavior. However, the Empress warns them that Nomura is no ordinary student. Nomura enters the school and meets Masuko, a large man in drag. He explains that there are certain rules in this school and recommends that he keep his head low, but Nomura refuses, saying he loves his freedom more than anything else. He enters his classroom but finds himself at the tip of Rin's sword, who threatens him to fall in line like the rest of the male students. But he refuses, and Rin swears to correct him by the end of homeroom. After a sly, faint movement, he escapes through the window and Rin chases after him. Meanwhile, the rest of the Supreme Five Swords each make their own preparations to watch the approaching battle. Rin is a practitioner of the 𝙎𝙬𝙦𝙦 sword style, which specializes in breathing and striking in tandem, leaving little openings. Nomura manages to defend against her flurry of strikes, earning him some form of admiration. However, Nomura is injured when he misjudges the sword's distance, and he starts bleeding. He begins to get serious himself, putting on a pair of blade-resistant gloves, which improves his parrying ability. Despite this, Rin soon forces Nomura into a corner, but a slight opening allows him to grab her on the side of the back. Though Rin is still confident she has the upper hand, Rin remarks that he may have a sword, but he has a gun. He then unleashes his magic bullet, a palm technique which sends Rin barreling across the field. He then explains his technique to her, breaking off a piece of her mask in the process. One of her friends, called Nono, hits him on the head, causing him to accidentally kiss Rin, who in turn becomes livid. Choka, who is a disciple of Mary, promises to take revenge on Nomura for humiliating Rin, who is now bedridden due to a fever. Nomura learns from Masuko that to leave the school, he must receive a permission slip from Rin and have it stamped by the other members of the Supreme Swords, a daunting task. With the help of a smuggler from the dorm, he acquires a box of cakes, which he brings with him to class. Once there, he asks Kurosaki and Yui regarding Rin's whereabouts, and they inform him that she is in her dorm. So, with Masuko's directions, he goes and visits Rin. Rin takes her temperature and stresses out over yesterday's events. She is especially irritated that Nomura broke away from the kiss first, despite it being her first. She senses someone's presence and readies her sword, but Nomura appears behind her. He gifts her a box of cakes and flatters her by calling her cute, saying that he was lucky to kiss her. He asks her for a permission slip and she obliges. He thanks her and jokes that he should repay her in kisses, which causes her fever to spike, and she collapses as he catches her. He accidentally rips her pajamas just as Nano enters the room, causing a huge misunderstanding. Nomura is swiftly chased out of the dorm and finds himself at the receiving end of Nano's baton and Choka's whip. The two team up to punish Nomura and claim that no other student has ever survived a two-person correction except Empress. Nomura finds their attacks irritating as it scrapes his limbs. However, he catches Nano off guard, causing her to be caught up in Choka's whip. He uses his magic bullet on Nono, sending her flying into Choka as he approaches them to exact his punishment. They begin to cry, learning of her beloved Choka's defeat. Mary swears to exact revenge on Nomura. The following day, Nomura enters class to see Rin threaten him with a sword, and says that from now on, he will be under her strict supervision while reading a manga. Masuko warns Nomura that he has now earned the ire of Mary, but he doesn't seem to worry. The next day, Rin begins her supervision of Nomura, who is exasperated at being watched so closely there. He appears seeking retribution for Choka, but Nomura comes to his defense, stating that the horrible rumors surrounding him are just that, rumors. She sends Nomura on his way while she has a chat with Mary, while Choka chases after him. Choka attacks him with her whip, but he manages to catch it. She then faints upon seeing Nomura's pants are down. While he hastily fixes himself, he sees a familiar face. Amuo, the one who cut him down during a brawl. He tries to chase after her, but Mary catches him. Amuo recalls that she once tried to recruit Nomura as a subordinate, but is incensed that he refused. She wonders why she continues to spare him, but she shakes off her self-doubt and swears to kill him. The next time they meet, using her acute hearing, Tsukuyo listens to Nomura and Mary duel. He is kept at bay by Mary's sharp and swift rapier strikes. He is unable to close in, and he is slowly whittled away. He decides to charge at her with a banzai attack and is stabbed in the process, but Mary is shocked when she sees her attack blocked by the manga he was reading earlier. He smacks her on the head, giving him the range to use his magic bullet, defeating her. Expecting to be violated, Mary gives herself up to him, but he refuses, which irritates her as it implies that Rin was more attractive than her. He asks for her permission stamp, and she tries goading him into touching her chest by placing the stamp in them. However, he continues to refuse. Rin then arrives and begins punishing him for his lecherous ways, but Mary stops her and admits defeat. She stamps his permission slip and declares that she will join Rin in supervising him. Nomura's even stricter supervision begins just as Warabi returns from Hawaii. She is chagrined at Rin and Mary's recent conduct and plots to correct them as well, and initiates her punishment plan. The next day, Nomura is shocked to see Masuko crucified on a flagpole. Suddenly, Warabi announces a sports death Olympics. She challenges Nomura to overcome her several trials. In an exchange, she'll release Masuko and stamp his permission slip. When Rin and Mary question her actions, Warabi summons her 3 musketeers, Tsunami, Kinu, and Nico, who inform that they must take part as well. The first game is announced as a sumo competition when suddenly, Nano and Choka suddenly arrive to oppose Warabi. However, they are easily dispatched by the 3 musketeers, enraging Rin and Mary when they see Nomura talented at putting on the sumo loincloth, a mawashi. They have him put it on them, but they were not prepared for the humiliation and embarrassment they would go through. The match begins, and Nomura is shocked to learn that his opponent is a huge bear. He uses consecutive magic bullets, but it is not enough to bring down the beast. After kicking it in the leg, he sneaks up behind him and lifts him into the air. Mira calls out Warabi, irritated at how she acts all high and mighty, endangering innocence as she goes. He swears that if they win, they'll all have to wear mawashis as atonement. Suddenly, the bear's mawashi comes undone, and Nomura smiles wryly. As per the rules of sumo, a mawashi coming undone is grounds for a loss. Warabi cannot believe her bear lost, and she faints to the ground. She then announces that the games are over, which means war. Warabi invites Nomura to the top of the roof, where the 3 musketeers and several of her henchmen are waiting for him. Rin and Mary warn him that it is a trap, but Nomura insists on going regardless. They head to the main building, where Nano and Choka take care of the small fry. Nomura plans to climb to the roof using the back entrance, but are stunned when Satori from the 5 Blades emerges from it, clearing a path for them. However, she makes it clear that she does not like Nomura one bit and is only helping them because Warabi has gone beyond what was agreed. The 3 climb to the top of the roof and confront Warabi, where Nomura reaffirms that she will wear a mawashi when she loses. Mary protects their flank from the encroaching 3 musketeers. Nomura faces Warabi's boxing bear, and Rin faces Warabi herself. Although the 3 of them put up a good fight at first, they are soon driven into corners. Nomura has difficulty coping with the bear's brutish strength. Mary is attacked by scattered rivets, and Rin is losing in swordsmanship. Driven into a corner, Rin begins to waver. However, Nomura encourages them to just focus on the opponent in front of them, but Warabi only laughs. Nomura's magic bullets have built up sufficient damage into the bear, and when it drops its guard, he punches it squarely in the face, knocking it out. Likewise, Mary engages the musketeers in close quarters, taking them all out in one fell swoop. Warabi is stunned that her allies have lost. She and Rin go for a duel exchange, but at the last second, Warabi shies away from Rin's slash, causing her own to miss, and she is defeated. The group celebrates their victory, but when Nomura suggests they finally tie Warabi up in a mawashi, Rin and Mary do not wish for her to undergo the same embarrassment, and they attack him instead. After fussing over their appearance, Rin and Mary head out to meet Nomura, but are irritated when he is suddenly popular with the girls after eating lunch with him. They are further incensed when he does not notice their efforts to be more appealing to him. Over dinner, the 2 girls try to plan how to rein him in, which is enough to send chills up his spine. That night, someone enters his room. The next day, they are surprised when Nomura noticed their fashion changes, after all flustering them both during their routine inspection. They are angered when they find an image of Satori and Nomura in the nude. They start chasing him across the school grounds while Nomura scrambles to comprehend what is happening. He collides into Warabi and her bear, and they allow him to hide. When she learns of his predicament, she is amused and asks him what his plan is. Nomura decides to find evidence that the picture was not consensual. Nomura intentionally gets caught, allowing himself to be brutally interrogated by Rin and Mary. However, they stop when they see a horrific scar on his back. Warabi enters his cell and helps him up, revealing that she agreed to cooperate with his plan. The two sneak into Satori's dorm room to find the unaltered photo, but Warabi remarks that it could have been given to someone else, like the three masked girls under Satori's employ. They decide to investigate the showers next, narrowly avoiding traps and being caught by the dorm residents who are distracted by the sight of a bear cub. They search the showers and find that Satori's sword is missing. Warabi senses something is amiss, and when they turn around, they meet Misogi, Satori's right hand. After blocking a needle shot from her blowpipe, Satori emerges from the shower, sword in hand. Satori explains that she was able to take those photos with him thanks to Masuko's help, and Nomura finally remembers the events from last night, realizing that everything thus far has all gone according to Satori's plan. Meanwhile, both Mary and Rin fuss over Nomura while drinking non-alcoholic beverages and question if their decision to trust him in the first place was correct. Nomura goes and fights the still-naked Satori while Warabi takes on Misogi. However, the poison from earlier begins taking its toll, and her vision becomes hazy. Satori's swordplay confuses Nomura, and after guessing her sword style incorrectly, she suddenly uses styles from several different schools, catching him off guard. He calls her a monster, and she remarks that her parents say the same thing about her. The mirror realizes that her sword style is keishi, which borrows sword techniques from various schools, and he is right on the money. This does not mean he is out of the woods yet, as just knowing her style does not mean he is equipped to cope with it. Warabi is similarly having difficulty fighting due to the poison in her veins, and all seems lost. Nomura lures Satoru back into the shower room, where he suddenly strips naked. Is Gambit works? Satori is too distracted by his nakedness that her swordplay becomes sloppy, allowing Nomura to gain the upper hand. Likewise, Warabi gets the better of Misogi by performing a judo throw. When she walks over to unmask her, she is shocked. Satori threatens to destroy the clean photo evidence, but he slaps her instead, reasoning that if he is to be expelled, then he should do so on his own terms. When she asks him why he is so mad, he explains that it was because she made Rin cry, an answer that stuns her. He remarks that Satori is no monster at all, and commends her final attack on him, leaving her shy and bashful. Nomura awakens in the infirmary, with Satori watching over him. Hours earlier, Satori hides him underwater as Tsukiyo arrives alongside the dorm mother to investigate the commotion. Although Tsukiyo can sense another person in the bath, Satori denies it. After Nomura emerges from the bath, he collapses from a combination of his battle with Satori. Rin is guilty that she didn't listen to Nomura's explanation, and she heads over towards the interrogation room. However, she runs into Mary, who had the same idea, but neither will admit their true intentions. They have tea together and have a contest to outlast the other, but Satori enters the room and informs them that Nomura is in the infirmary. After clearing up a misunderstanding between Mary and Warabi, Nomura realizes where both the bear cub and wig are. He returns to the men's showers and finds the bear wearing the wig. They return the badly damaged wig to Choka, who is revealed to have extremely short hair in comparison. Rin and Nomura then learn that classes have been cancelled on account of the disappearance of AMU, the Empress, on a rooftop. It is revealed that Satori is actually Misogi, and vice versa. For some unknown reason, the two have switched places. Amu appears behind them, calling her a pitiful soul. Satori tries to leave, but secretly tries to attack Amu instead. But to Misogi's horror, her sister is stabbed by Amu's signature blade-like fingers. Misogi tries distracting her with a blow dart, but it is easily parried. Satori and Misogi are mortally wounded. EMU tries to finish off Misogi, but Satori protects her sister with her body. In a flashback, the two swapped identities after being tired of Misogi stealing her spotlight. Warabi finally arrives on the roof, but she is too late. She tries attacking EMU alongside her bear. shocked when EMU emerges unscathed. Meanwhile, Nomura approaches Tsukuyo to ask for the final stamp, but Tsukuyo suddenly lashes out at him. It is revealed that Tsukuyo's slash was merely an image in his mind, but she remarks that he really did die. She explains that the headmistress placed her in charge of him and was allowed 2 transgressions, but he has since exhausted those chances, and she has run out of patience. Nomura learns 2 things about Tsukuyo. She is blind but makes up for it with her hearing, and they are both disciples of same sword style. Meanwhile, Warabi and her bear are gravely injured. Despite the intervention of Warabi's musketeers, they are still no match for Amu. Tsukuyo remarks that Nomura has made fast friends with the rest of the 5 blades, but before she can finish, she hears him leave. Tsukuyo is indignant at him leaving, revealing that she just wanted friends all along. Warabi begs AMU to spare her friends, but she ignores her cries for mercy, slicing apart her eyes, blinding her as her friends look on in horror. Amira finally arrives at the roof, but he is too late. AMU has left, and in her wake, absolute annihilation. The headmistress appears behind him and says to leave first aid to her while she instructs him to deal with the bloodbath that is about to occur below. Mary and Rin attempt a simultaneous attack against AMU, but they are effortlessly kicked away. AMU says that through strenuous training, her whole body is a lethal blade, a form of karate called Take Mikazuchi, the sword god. Tsukuyo intervenes and is galvanized after Nono confirms that she is her friend. Tsukuyo's sword style manages to damage AMU to everyone's surprise, but they note that Tsukuyo also took damage. AMU remarks that her blade is a child's toy and crushes the broken tip with her bare hands. As AMU goes in for the killing blow, Nomura finally appears, pushing her out of harm's way. Years prior, AMU and Nomura were originally good friends. However, after an incident involving AMU injuring a fellow student, they became enemies. In the present, Nomura tries to attack AMU, and although he is wounded, a manga in his pocket protects him. Tsukuyo interrupts him and asks if they are friends, to which he replies, "Asking someone to be your friend isn't right. You naturally become friends together, without even noticing it." Nomura doubts if his magic bullet will have any effect on Amu's steel body, but the 5 swords encourage him that it will, and that his victory over each of them is proof of that fact. Startlingly, Nomura takes on a sword stance, which Tsukuyo notes is the fastest stance available to him. Nomura attacks, but it is parried by Amu's roundhouse block, and he is soon forced back. He bumps into Tsukuyo, and he initially thinks he is about to be attacked by her, but instead, she scolds him for his half-hearted attacks. She whispers something into his ear, reminding him that AMU has already shown an opening, and his resolve is renewed. He reminisces about his experiences at his school, and having learned from everything he's been through, he prepares for the final clash. Until now, AMU still wishes to be with Nomura, whom she views as someone who had brought color into her life. She wonders if it is not too late to still be friends with him, but she laments that the time for that has passed. If she can't have him, then she must kill him. Using Tsukuyo's advice, Nomura attacks Amu head-on but strips his shirt off at the last second. As Tsukuyo noted that Amu slightly holds back her strikes on bare skin, Mira takes the hit and returns fire, finally landing a magic bullet square in her chest. Miraculously, Amu stands up, an unprecedented feat. The two continue their brutal slugfest, with neither bothering to guard. Amu lands a fierce uppercut that sends him reeling, but he regains his footing after hearing Rin's encouragement. He fires back with a magic bullet, but her auto-counter damages him right back. Amu catches him as he falls and invites him to fire another magic bullet into her. She remarks that she loved him so badly that she tried to kill him and asks him to be hers, but he refuses. He fires a magic bullet, winning the match. Tsukuyo scolds Nomura for his sloppy fighting, but volunteers to tutor him, and in exchange she'll grant him her stamp. However, they are interrupted by the headmistress, called Yukino. She tells the girls to disperse, and tells Nomura that he is expelled. The following day, Nomura visits Warabi in the hospital to say his goodbyes, telling her to take care of herself. He then visits Satori, who asks him what he thinks of her, and he replies that she is the girl who tried to cut him up in the bath. As he leaves, Misogi enters, and when she incorrectly calls Satori by Misogi, she remarks that either name is fine, she is who she is. Meanwhile, Rin and Mary try to appeal Nomura's expulsion to the headmistress, but she refuses. Nomura walks out of the school building and meets Tsukuyo, and he learns that Amu has already left the school. He tries to go after her, but Tsukuyo remarks that he cannot leave without permission from all 5 supreme swords, and she brandishes her permission stamp. Nomura chases Amu to the airport, and the two say their goodbyes when he asks her if she has any message she'd like for him to pass on. She suddenly kisses him and playfully answers that Nomura is mine. He returns to the academy where he sees Rin and Mary. They explain to him that his expulsion was rolled back by the headmistress, who instructed them to keep a closer eye on him. Rin draws her sword and asks Nomura the same question when they first met. Does he want to coexist with them or leave the school? To which he replies with the same answer, no way. Nomura approaches 𝙎𝙬𝙯 Academy, with all his friends gathered to welcome him back. As he steps through the gates, he exclaims, "I'm back!" And this brings the anime to an end. And that's a wrap on Armed Girls Machiavellism. From mask-wearing rebels to katana-wielding queens, this anime definitely doesn't hold back on style.